So this is just a quick video to show where, now that I've got everything cut and ready to go for my black soldier fly bin, I thought I'd show off all the parts. So I have two legs that'll go down into the barrel or into the bucket. They go in through the holes here on the end. They have slots cut into them. A little gap at the top from where they stick out. There's an elbow, a little bit of crossing stuff, a T, a little more of a pipe, another elbow, and here's the other leg that'll be going down into there. These are set to be about 30 degrees. I'm not precise on that, but it's close. And that little bit of tubing there is so that when it comes out of the T, it fits into the top of my jug there. So I'll show you more when I get it put all together. And then here is how the black soldier flies get in, is that this is sticking out of the top out of that hole. There'll be one of these out of each side. They're at a 30-degree angle also, or close, and they hopefully will keep rain and anything from ever getting into there. And then this T will be on the top, that little bit of tube will be in the center, and then this little coupler here will be sticking out the bottom, and it has the screws through it so that this piece of cardboard can hang from it. And this cardboard is where the black soldier flies should lay their eggs that will drop down into the compost and eat the compost until they turn into the black soldier fly larvae that are ready to find dirt, and they'll crawl into these tubes and crawl out. But I thought I'd give at least a picture of all the different parts that I have for it right now that I've actually got everything cut and figured out how it's going together, and I'll give another video of it just before I put it together. So this is what my black soldier fly bin will look like when it's actually set up, other than the lid would be closed. You can see I've got the jug out here in the front. It's underneath the tube, so there's actually no way for the larvae to get out of there. The tube goes straight down into the old Sunny D jug. So you can see in there, the tubes are at an angle going down. So when the larvae get to the point they want to pupate, I think is the correct word, they'll climb up those tubes and they'll end up falling down into this jug. Since it's right next to my back door and I come out this multiple times a day, I'll be able to notice when there's larvae in there. I can pick it up and take it down and give it to my birds. So here's probably one of the things that I found on some of the stuff did not explain very well, is that I've got a piece of cardboard hanging down from the bottom. Let's see. So you can see how the tube comes through from up top. It comes down through. There's where the two screws are, and then I have my piece of cardboard hanging on those screws. So we'll see how well this works. This is my interpretation of most of the designs that I found online. I think it should work, and from here we'll find out what I have to change to actually get it up and running. But at this point it's ready for me to put compost into it, and we'll see if I can attract some black soldier flies. So we'll see from there. I'll try to keep updates on this and see where we go. So it is now June 25th. I've been running my black soldier fly bin since May 12th or May 14th. It's middle of May is when I actually built this and set it up out here. It took a couple days to get enough compost to really put in there to give a decent layer and to get things going. I was able to get some larvae towards the end of May. And then I started running into problems. One, I didn't have enough compost to put into it, so that I found that's an interesting aspect of not being able to get enough to feed the larvae. But the next problem I ran into was my raccoons. I found the raccoons were coming out and they were pulling the tubing out and throwing it on the ground and eating everything out of the tubing. So that's why it is now covered in bricks on the front side, because this seems to stop the raccoons from getting into it, and it means I do have to move the bricks every time that I want to get into the jug. But now I've had at least 2 days in a row that I was able to pull the jug out, and it had larvae in the bottom of it, so I was able to feed some to my to my birds. So it's working. It's just not working as well or as I'd hoped, or at least I haven't been able to get enough worms out of it that I was expecting. I did end up finding an old bag of dog food that got thrown in there, and that's helped keep the plenty of food for the worms, and they're slowly breaking that down. I think I can show you what's going on in there. It's kind of disgusting. Yeah, can't really see the worms going at it right now. Last night when I checked on them, I could see worms down in there. You can see a couple down in there, but they're not as much. They seem to stay down below the surface, so I don't see them up and about as much, especially during the day. In the evening, after it gets dark, I found I can get a little more out of it, and usually when I'm throwing something new in. But it's amazing how we've thrown stuff on top of the dog food, and a day later come back and it's kind of just dog food on top again. So they definitely are eating through whatever we give them, and so it's working. It's just taken a little bit more of adding the bricks to block it in, and I moved it to the other side of the door just so it wasn't in the way as much when I walked out, but it's at least working. So we'll see how long it continues working this way, but I figured this was the best way to end talking about actually making it, and the last few changes I had to do, such as adding all the bricks and trying to block it in so that the raccoons don't get into it. I've seen the raccoons on the camera playing with it, and so I know that they've been trying to get into it, but they weren't. The best they were able to do is knock down a couple of bricks. They couldn't get enough of the bricks out of the way to get into it. So this at least seems to be working. There's a lot of extra house flies in there too, but there's definitely plenty of larvae, and so hopefully my birds will be happy if they really start figuring out how to eat these.